You are suffering far too unnecessarily, and here are some really clear and cut, easy ways to help mitigate that. So, first, I want to talk about the subject of suffering and why this is a little bit inefficient or very inefficient for your spiritual growth on this planet. So, we know that the fundamental basis of growth requires change. Fairly simple to understand, which means it probably requires you to have some kind of energy exchange for that growth. So whether that be physical pain for muscle growth, whether that be emotional pain for growing from past relationships that no longer served you, spiritual pain from accepting new ideas and beliefs that you previously thought were impossible or that would not resonate within you. So that's kind of where I'm coming from in this frame of reference. You suffer though unnecessarily because suffering doesn't need to be added to that equation for you to have a similar result. You can suffer, and that's an incredibly important thing at times to realize. I have suffered in the past. Maybe I don't want to do that again. Maybe I don't want to suffer. Maybe I don't want to, get down into the depths of my soul and cry and be just super freaking like unable to communicate with anyone and feel like I'm just completely alienated from life. It's important to realize that you don't have to do that in order to have very impactful results in your life. And I want also to remind you that a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. Look at the world right now. Look at the things that are going on in this world right now as we speak. And realize that you can learn a lot about that and especially about the suffering that's happening very unnecessarily to a lot of people right now. That's not even their fault, but they're still getting caught in the crossfire of a lot of different things in this world. I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm not here to talk about anything other than my own personal experience in life and what I feel like is true and that can actually help you succeed and grow on this path and on this journey. So that's why the title of this video is You're Suffering Unnecessarily. You don't have to have that experience if you don't want to. However, you do have to grow and you do have to accept that there will be some pain with that there will be some times of uncertainty, some times of where you really don't know what to do next, and that is okay. Before I move on to how you can actually end that fairly quickly, I want to talk about the idea of contraction versus expansion. So that's the fundamental way that the universe works. It's either in contraction, in a period of contraction where things are consolidating, becoming closer to one solid thing or being, or it's an expansion, where accelerating in a rapid form into all kinds of different types of equations and different realities and possibilities. You're, so that is happening in the universe, which means it's also happening within you, which means it's happening within your life, within your other people's life, with people around you, your parents, your loved ones, your partner, your brothers, your sisters, etc. It's important to keep that in mind because a lot of people feel depressed when in reality they're in a period of contraction, which may lead to a lot of pain and suffering. Remember, pain is necessary because you need to pay the price metaphysically for some kind of change to happen, for the transmutation, for the alchemization of that to happen. Suffering, on the other hand, is not. So when you're in that frame of compression, when things are feeling very, very difficult for you to understand why they're happening, how they should be happening, you're in lack or you are perceiving lack, it's important for you to sometimes snap yourself out of that and say, hold on, this is not lack. This is not me being depressed. This is just a period of time where I shouldn't input anything else from anyone or anything or any social media or any politics or any YouTube video, and I should go within myself. You should find that divine spark within and you should ask it the questions. I'll reference something that Jesus was saying and that was teaching a lot because I've been studying a lot about the teachings of Jesus Christ. And he was saying that if you ever are doubting something, ask your heart first. I remind you to do the same things, my friends and family. Ask your heart first. Go within. Realize that the answer is almost always, in fact, I would say be bold enough to say it's always within you. You just have to peel back the layers of the onion of your heart to find that answer. And if you operate and exist within that heart, then you really can do no wrong because you're doing your best. And I hope that makes sense to you. And if you want more explanation on that or better ideas or theories of how that's worked in the past for me and for other parts of civilization, I can make a video about that too. Please let me know. So I want to get into 4 easy ways that you can actually mitigate suffering almost entirely. pretty much entirely, because at the end of the day, you still have the decision and free will to suffer. And I just want to make that clear to you. So number one is to be impeccable with your word. Being impeccable with your word will save you a multitude of time, energy, resources, and just suffering from ever happening or ever having to be used. There's a firefighter going off right now. Okay, so as I was saying, number one out of these 4 tips is be impeccable with your word. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was with God. That was in Genesis, one of the first books in the Bible. And I don't associate myself with any religion. However, I do draw a lot of truth and inspiration from a multitude of different religions. And impeccability of the Word is absolutely important for your wandering and your location of this world. You have to be able to speak to other people in a very precise and eloquent way. Why? Because word is extremely important. There's been no more, all the wars in this world have been fought because people's words offended or contradicted or went against the way other people thought. And that's why we have wars, for the most part. If people who lead the country have been a little bit more impeccable with their word, we could probably mitigate that. There would be no need to suffer unnecessarily and have people die and suffer and lose loved ones and just live this horrible existence on this planet if people were impeccable with their words and said what they meant and then did what they said. You see how it just kind of plays into itself. It's very, very important to be impeccable with your word. It's one of the best and easiest superpowers that you can accumulate as a human being, is to be impeccable with your word and to mean what you say. And that way no one can come and say, oh, what did you mean by this? Or what was this? Or what was that? I was like, no, dude, I said it in this exact entire way. I'm not responsible for the way that you interpret it. I'm responsible for the way I say it. Very huge cue. I am responsible for my delivery upon this message. It's up to you to decipher and interpret that however you want to say it or think about it. But if I say it in a very specific way and record myself saying that, it's very difficult for you to go ahead and misconstrue that and to make it seem like it's something that it wasn't. Number one, impeccability of the word. Number two is to not make assumptions. Don't make assumptions, guys. Don't make assumptions. They make an ass out of you and me. That's what happens when you assume. Don't make assumptions. Go take the extra second, take the extra minute, take the extra hour to find out what is really happening, or at least get as close as you can to the truth before you try to make an assumption about it. That will save you a great multitude of suffering and just petty conversation and useless rhetoric back and forth with people that you otherwise shouldn't really be talking to for much longer than it's needed, whether that's online, whether that's in person. Don't make assumptions, guys. This is pretty cut and clear, and this is pretty easy to understand, but it's important because a lot of people do this subconsciously. They'll make an assumption about something just based on the first initial judgment or look of it. It's important to do a little bit more digging and get to the bottom of it, or as close as you physically or metaphorically can before you make an opinion about it. Number three is to not take things personally. And this is a huge one because for me in my life, this touches my soul very dearly because I have always been very quick to be reactive and defensive and, not let anyone trample over me, obviously physically or, metaphorically or in conversation or in an argument or whatever. But I was taking those things insanely personal, and the reality is I should have just shrugged and let it go, not take it personal, because at the end of the day, we're all reflections of one another. We are all one. We are all interconnected in this world and are of equal value to one another. There is no difference between the person, me and you watching this, other than the fact that I'm having my own unique experience, and so are you. So if I were to draw the number 6 right here in front of me, and you were to look at it from standing over there, you would think that's a 9, and I would say that's a 6. Are either one of us wrong? No. So why would I take that personal and feel like you're trying to offend me and ruin my life because you're looking at that from a different perspective than I am? That's a little bit ludicrous. That's a little bit crazy, man. That's a little bit what happens too much, unfortunately, in this world, is people get so attached to an idea, a thought, a metaphor, a symbol, and they will fight to the death, literally death, for that. when it's not really worth that. It's nothing is ever worth your peace, nothing is ever worth your life. That is far too expensive. This life is fairly short. You must make the most of it. You must live in accordance with nature and the law of one and the law of God. That will make you a better human being. You must be creative. These things will make you better, and you will end suffering. And the fourth and the last point that I have here is always try your hardest. If you are always trying your hardest, you can rest assured in peace in your soul that no one can say to you, and you'll actually believe it, that what you did was a piece of garbage, or what you said was a piece of garbage, or that you are a piece of garbage and that you aren't worth anything, or that your self-value is super low and that you aren't worth anything because you're trying your hardest. If you're giving forth your best, that's all that anyone could ever ask of you. It's incredibly simple and easy to understand. All four of these things, you could tell this to a kindergartner and they would understand it, and they would internalize it, and hopefully that would make the world a better place. And I do believe it will be. That's why I'm making this video. So always try your hardest to strive in your life for whatever you're trying to do, whether it's video creation, whether it's music, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's just being a better human being to your neighbor, about how you go around life and create different aspects of it. Try your hardest to be intentional and be in the present moment and love one another. All four of these ideas, guys, were taken from a book called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I highly, highly recommend you guys read that book, because what I just told you was a crash course upon it. That's pretty much the gist of the book. However, there's a lot of different stories and things that go into it that Don Miguel Ruiz pours his heart and soul into, and he's an amazing author, an amazing teacher, an amazing spiritual leader, and I highly recommend that you reach out and go watch that, because it will bring you some clarity and that will lessen your suffering on this planet. And with that, my friends, I will conclude the video. I love each and every one of you. Again, the title of this video was Why You're Suffering Unnecessarily and How to Mitigate That. I hope you derive some value from this. I love you guys. I'll see y'all in the next one.